When my sister, Annie, was 18 and I was 21, she got pregnant and had a daughter, Sophie. She developed what we believe was postpartum depression, but was never diagnosed as she refused therapy. When Annie's school started up again, our mother took on all childcare of Sophie. As Mum took on more childcare, Annie seemed more like her old self, happy, outgoing, generally mentally healthy. Then within 6 months of Sophie's birth, Annie got pregnant again with another girl, Laura, and the cycle of PPD symptoms. Mum taking over, and Annie's mood improving repeated. When Laura was 2 and Sophie was 3, Annie decided to move out of our parents' home, alone, and said she wanted our parents to adopt/raise her daughters. They said no. Annie said she couldn't take care of the girls as she had her own life and being a parent made her miserable. My husband and I already had 4 kids of our own, we'd bonded with the girls, and we had the resources for 2 more. So we offered to take them in, and Annie let us legally adopt them before moving about 8 hours away. It's been about 5 years, and the kids are doing well. It was a rough start, but we're now a stable, loving, healthy family unit. Sophie and Laura are 7 and 8, and Annie has recently lost her job and had to move back in with our parents. Annie has now asked for custody of Sophie and Laura. I'm writing custody like that because it wouldn't be custody in the legal sense. As she willingly surrendered all legal rights to the girls and can't get them back, we checked with a lawyer. However, Annie wants the girls to live with her. Initially she said she wanted them full-time and to legally adopt them back from us, which we obviously refused. Then she offered a compromise of alternate weeks, so 50//50 custody. Again, we refused. Given her insistence, we don't even want her around Sophie and Laura. So we've not been going by my parents' house as we typically do. It's been a month of constant badgering, insisting we let Annie bond with her daughters and allow her to at the very least take them for overnight visits, saying that Annie had PPD 5 years ago. And now she's ready to be a parent. I've responded that we are not babysitters, we are Sophie and Laura's parents. They're in a good place and this will be detrimental to all 6 kids. And Annie doesn't get to step in now when she never stepped up in the first place. The response from my parents and Annie is that I'm being unsympathetic to her PPD and I should let her at least have a chance, rather than deem her unfit without giving her a chance to prove herself. Plus, given that we already have 4 kids other than them, Sophie and Laura could probably do with a smaller household, and saying we're being unreasonable for not allowing Annie to bond with her kids. My fiancé, male 28 years old, and I, female 30 years old, have been together for 3 years. I used to live close to work and used public transportation, but after I moved into his house, which is hours away from work, I bought myself a car since I'm a nurse, and also since there isn't any hospitals close to where we live that I could transfer to. My fiancé's car hasn't been working for close to 2 months now. It requires so much money to get it fixed and he refused my financial help when I offered it. Instead, he would ask to use my car every now and then, and I agreed as long as it's when I'm not working, and also, since he only uses it for trips to the supermarket etc. On New Year's Eve, he told me he wanted to use my car to go hang out with his friends and celebrate, but I declined because I had to cover a night shift and needed my car to travel to work. He insisted and even suggested I take the night off or swap shifts with another nurse, but I couldn't do that last minute. I thought he dropped it then, but when I went into the shower and got out I couldn't find him nor my car. I freaked out and started calling for half an hour, but he didn't answer me. I tried again till one of his friends picked up. I demanded he give the phone to my fiancé, but he said they were out and confirmed that he took my car and told me that my fiancé said that it's better that I skip my shift and he'll be back with my car later. I couldn't take it. I felt so enraged. I had my fiancé on the phone telling him I did not consent for him to take my car to go hang out with friends, and said I'd call the police to get it back if he refused to come back with it. But he didn't take me seriously, so I ended up calling the police, and he and his friends were picked up at the bar where they were hanging out, then were taken to the police department. I got my car from there and still went to my shift. My fiancé was let go hours after I left, and he blew up my phone with missed calls and texts about how I was out of my mind to call the police on him and put him in this situation. I did not respond, but when I got off work the next day we got into an argument and he said he couldn't believe I'd do this to him, but I told him he made me do this, to which he responded that I was petty and callous because not only did I ruin his New Year's celebration, but all his friends aren't speaking to him after I put them in this situation as well, and he then kept giving me silence about it. I did consider this a form of theft, especially since he went behind my back after getting a no from me. But he was shocked that I'd even imply that he was a thief and said what's yours is mine and vice versa, so I shouldn't be using the terms theft and stealing. I manage a team of employees in a very specialized industry. The employees are hired on 2-year contracts that are mostly automatically renewed. Salaries are fixed for the duration of the contract, but raises are negotiated at time of renewal. There are no non-competes. I have one employee, Sarah, who requested a meeting with me last week to discuss a possible raise. I informed her that it is a little early as her contract won't expire until Jan, and I would be happy to discuss it in November. She told me she would like to discuss it now as her current salary does not reflect the amount of work she is doing. So I set up a meeting with her on Friday and told her I will hear her out. To her credit, she gave well thought out presentation listing the average salary in her field, the extra responsibilities she had to take on, and the extra revenue she was able to generate, etc. In the end, she asked for a 19% raise to stay on. This was a substantial jump, but I thought she made some good points, and, with inflation being what it is, I can sell it to the managing partner that we are locking down a good employee for 2 more years. After the presentation, I told her I will just approve the raise and talk to the managing partner about starting her new contract early. Since the only things we are changing are the salary numbers, we can have the new contract ready for her to sign by Tuesday. She seemed very surprised that I did not try to negotiate and looked a little shell-shocked that the meeting was over so quickly. So anyways, I spent the entire weekend selling the raise to the partners and harassing legal to get the documents ready. However, when I gave her the documents to sign this morning, she asked for another meeting to discuss salary. She informed me that after doing more research over the weekend, her pay is still not reflective of all the work she is doing. At this point I got pretty annoyed and told her that we can discuss in 2 years. I thought that was the end of it, but after lunch she came to my office with 3 offers letters she received from our competitors. One in our city with a salary that is 2 to 3% higher, and 2 from other states that are 8 to 9% higher. She asks for the new salary to at least match the competitor in our city to stay. At this point I got very frustrated and told her that she is now free to work for our competitor, because her contract with us will not be renewed. She called me in and left crying, immediately telling all her coworkers that I fired her for asking for a raise, which obviously caused quite an uproar. My wife thinks that I am the because I could have just said no. She probably had the other offers for a while and was never going to actually leave. She recommended that I offer her back the new contract. Anyways, I am contemplating going back to the office tomorrow and offering Sarah her new contract again. But I just felt like the relationship between us is ruined after this whole situation. Her currently contract is negotiated 2 years ago, which is why there is a discrepancy in pay with the current offers. There are also a lot of reasons for differences in salary even within the same city. Perhaps less PTO, maybe more responsibilities, maybe they lock them in the contract for 3 years instead of 2. Which is happening more and more now. Maybe they have a non-compete, or maybe they are better. I can't say. Her contract expires Jan, so she has plenty of time left at the company if she wants to finish out. Sarah is WFH today, so I sent her an email apologizing for overreacting yesterday, and informing her that she is an important member of our team and that I worked really hard to get her the raise she initially requested. The new offer still stands provided she return the signed contract to me today before 5 p.m. I would be happy to execute it immediately and get her sorted out before the next payment period. She emailed back also apologizing for her reaction yesterday and said that she enjoyed working here and feels like she really has an opportunity to grow. But she then ended the email asking if I would still be willing to reconsider upping the offer to match her other offer. At this point, I just can't even anymore. I basically ignored her email, and at 5:01 p.m. with no signed contract from her, I sent an email to the managing partner I was talking to all weekend. Hope this email finds you well. I am writing to inform you that Sarah has elected to decline the new contract as it is written. She has informed me that she received an offer from our competitor with a salary of XXX. I have attached a scanned document of the offer letter with this email for your convenience. She has requested that we match that salary to retain her services as our current offer is insufficient. As of right now, her contract expires January 22nd. Please advise on the next steps. I dated my ex-boyfriend for a few years and we broke it off a few months before COVID. We were both madly in love and I'm still not over him. My best friend knows this. A few months ago, she started getting distant from me and it's super unusual for me because she needs me for everything. Like just a few things that I helped her do: find colleges, apply to colleges, help donate money for her college fund, help her build her resume, find her therapy, find her a job, and countless other things. I even paid for a lot of stuff for her, like going on trips and such. She didn't really do much for me and was somewhat of an emotional support because we'd always talk about her. But then I really didn't mind and didn't care what I did for her. She was my BFF and you are best friends. They're sisters. Last month, she broke and told me that the reason that she's so distant is because she's quarantining with my ex and they're a thing. Whatever hopes I had of getting back to my ex are squashed because I don't think I can get over him hooking up with my best friend. I'm super heartbroken and I know that you don't own people, but that doesn't mean that you can't be upset about their betrayal. Yes, dating your best friend's ex that she still loves is a betrayal. She asked me if I was happy for her, because she finally got a good job and a nice boyfriend. That job she has is solely because of me because I asked an old acquaintance to return a favor by hiring my best friend. He wanted to hire someone else, but I begged him to hire her. I know how people are sometimes hurt but then they say, "But I'm truly happy for you." I honest to God don't think they mean it, and when I say I'm happy for someone, I want to mean it. I'm not happy for my friend. I just am not. I can't make myself be. I told her as such and told her to stop contacting me. She's now blowing up my emails and DMs because she's so hurt by what I said to her. My dad said that I should have just kept this to myself since I know my best friend is a sensitive person and is hurt. But what about me? Am I given a sensitivity pass because I've looked after my friend for so long? Do my feelings just stop matching at some point? She called me with the news and said that she didn't know how to tell me, didn't apologize. And then she followed it up with how she's finally doing well and doesn't have to rely on me for money since she has a nice job and also a nice boyfriend. I told her I was not happy for her. I reminded her that I got her the job, she knew and was fine with it. And that I've done so much for her over the years and she thanks me by backstabbing me and getting with my ex. She knew that it would hurt me and if she'd done it when I was well over him or with my permission, I'd feel differently. Then, I told her to not contact me again because clearly I'm her friend, but she was never my friend and I want to stick with people who are supportive toward me and reciprocate my friendship.